Hi there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
a new phase in immigration policy for asylum seekers at the southern border, the resurgence of immigration as hot topic item in national politics, how other countries are attracting immigrants at the United States' expense with modern immigration policies, Mexico's frustrations with Texas after the state's governor decided to play politics and disrupt operations at the border, and optimism, or at least a little, in the Senate on the prospect of broad immigration reform.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
on May 12th, the Biden administration began enforcing a new rule to replace the Title 42 pandemic-era policy. The rule disqualifies migrants from U.S. protection if they fail to request refugee status in another country, such as Mexico, before reaching the U.S. border. It is expected to ramp up swift deportations and will be a major shift in asylum policy. It has already been challenged in federal court, so it could be blocked in part or whole by a judge, as happened with a similar policy during former President Trump's administration. The new rule is considered tougher than the Title 42 policy because migrants who cannot prove eligibility for an exemption face swift deportation and a 5-year banishment from the U.S. Meanwhile, the administration is also expanding legal pathways for migrants to enter the U.S. legally.
And next up, for update number 2.
The subject of border security, which was a key element of ex-President Donald Trump's victorious 2016 campaign, has resurfaced in national discourse. This development could potentially favor Trump, presenting a problem for President Biden. Trump, known for his provocative language, has forecasted turmoil following the end of the pandemic period policy known as Title 42 and has compared migrants to freed prisoners. Despite the absence of chaos at the border since the policy's end, Trump, joined by fellow Republicans and conservative news outlets, alleges that Biden is disregarding an escalating crisis. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina and possible contender for the 2024 presidential elections, has voiced similar concerns, referring to drug trafficking problems she says she encountered during a recent visit to the border.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Why is the United States falling short in this regard? Migration to affluent nations is at an all-time high, with these countries actively recruiting additional workforce to address employment gaps and fight inflation. Even historically immigration-averse countries like Germany and Japan are providing opportunities for foreign workers, skilled or unskilled. Predictably, these countries are seeing a surge in immigrants. Our neighbor to the north, Canada, is an increasingly popular destination for folks from all over the world. Despite a strained labor market, the U.S. hasn't been as receptive. We've simply failed to streamline the process for legal work immigration. This hesitance leads to ongoing issues, such as constant labor deficits and increased wages. Our archaic immigration structure isn't beneficial, and political deadlock prevents us from modernizing it. Consequently, immigrants, regardless of skill level, are opting for other destinations.
And moving right along, update number 4.
Mexico is expressing discontent with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, with the core of the issue being politics and immigration. The Mexican government has complained about the re-implementation of truck inspections at the border crossings around Brownsville, Texas. These inspections, starting on May 8, have led to shipment delays of up to 27 hours. They are causing financial hardship for companies in both Mexico and the United States, especially those dealing with perishable goods. The United States, a major importer of Mexican goods, could see its consumers bear the cost of these policies. In 2022, Governor Abbott introduced such inspections, supposedly to curb drug and migrant smuggling, but they were withdrawn due to severe traffic delays at the border and economic damage. Mexico maintains that drug and migrant smuggling problems should be managed by federal, not state law enforcement. It's undeniable that Abbott's real intent is to appear strong on border and immigration matters, topics that energize his political base.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, has voiced his hope for bipartisan collaboration on the topic of immigration reform in the Senate, despite his reservations about the Republican stance. Murphy pointed out that the ongoing labor deficit might inspire Republicans to reevaluate their views on promoting legal immigration as a means to stimulate the economy. However, Murphy also voiced criticism, stating that only a handful of Republicans appear ready to engage in meaningful dialogue about immigration reform. The majority seem to take pleasure in the disorder at the border. The clear implication was that Republicans don't want to actually fix the broken immigration system because being able to demonize Democrats over the problems fires up the Republican base.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. That number is 713-352-1593. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an Asylum Strategy Session so that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.